All right. Hey, Kettlebell Kings fam. Just going to start the Instagram live as well. All right. Here we go. Cool. I'm in my garage gym today. All right. Hi, Kettlebell Kings fam. This is Hallie. I am live with the Kettlebell Kings. I am a kettlebell coach and an FRC mobility specialist and kin stretch instructor. So I love to combine mobility with kettlebell strength movements. And today I am doing a workout with you. It's going to be called Shoulder Mobility 101. So we're going to be going over some mobility concepts from the FRC mobility training system. I'm going to incorporate some kettlebell work like the arm bar and some Turkish get up drills. And we are going to make sure that you have that full overhead range of motion, that is required in a lot of kettlebell skills like the Turkish get up or snatches or strict presses. And making sure that we have that in a very active way. So that way we, one, don't injure ourselves, and two, so we're loading in a safe way, making sure that the range of motion is controllable and we're not just forcing it and getting ourselves into compromised positions with our body and things like that. So we're going to get started in just a second. I just want to say if you have one or two kettlebells, that's all you really need for this workout. Plus, you might want a small towel as like a little burrito pillow because we're going to be doing some things prone laying on our stomach for some shoulder work. And then also if you have a yoga block, that would be handy. We're going to do some shoulder hovers with this as our object to hover over. But you could also use a kettlebell for that. Just kind of depends on what your range of motion is like. The yoga block is nice because it has a few different, heights that you can put it on. So I like working with the yoga block for some of my mobility work. Okay, we're going to get started with some scap cars. So our shoulder blades, the range of motion of our shoulder blades is super important. Knowing how to retract, protract, elevate, and depress our scaps is essential. And also knowing how to isolate that range of motion and not get the T-spine or our thoracic spine involved. A lot of the times when people try to move from their shoulder blades, they're actually flexing or extending their spine, which can have, a great impact on your overall movement quality. So what we're going to do is just start in a tall kneeling position. And I'm going to reach my arms straight out in front of me. And we're going to create nice tight fists with both hands and just bring tension into our body. I want you to tuck your tailbone under, draw the rib cage in and back, and build up to what feels like at least 50% of your maximum effort here. It's almost like you're in a tall kneeling, okay? And now you're gonna just first squeeze your shoulder blades together onto your spine, gliding them onto your back. And then we're gonna glide them up toward our ears in that retraction. We're gonna protract forward and then glide them down. So we're making basically a boxy circle with our shoulders. Squeeze back, glide up toward your ears, that retraction, protract forward, and glide down. Let's do one more that way, just getting as much range of motion as you can and trying to really isolate, making sure your head and neck are staying stable, your rib cage and pelvis is all stable. Retract again, pause there, and now we're going to go in the opposite direction. So you're going to protract forward, glide up as high as you can in the protraction, keep them elevated as you retract, and then glide down. Okay, two more that way, just maintaining that 50% effort. Glide up as high as you can, retract, and glide down. Okay, one more time that way, just getting that full range of motion with tension in the body. Keep breathing steady. Glide down, protract, and then rest. Okay, awesome. Next, we're going to do a shoulder car or a glenohumeral car. It's our glenohumeral joint. We're going to try to work the fullest range of motion possible, and we're going to do it first in a tall kneeling position, then we're going to get into a more challenging position for our shoulder. So I'm going to face this way first for the left arm. You're going to just place your right hand on your rib cage, just as tactile feedback to remember to keep that rib cage nice and stable. We're going to externally rotate through our left shoulder and start to cross the arm over our midline, adducting our shoulder. I'm going to 80 duct and go into shoulder flexion, trying to get my arm basically to scrape my cheek as I come up to the top of my range of motion, making sure I'm not in spinal extension, everything stays stable. At the top, I'm going to internally rotate through my shoulder, spiraling my thumb forward, pinky back, and then we're going to sweep the arm back, and I keep internally rotating as I reach my arm into shoulder extension. Tricep is really working here to lift. I want to make sure that the front of my shoulder is away from my chest, right? I'm not trying to lift it so much that the shoulder bone is dipping down toward my pec. I'm keeping my chest nice and open. We're just going to hold here for another breath. And then to reverse it, you're going to externally rotate through that shoulder in the shoulder extension. And then I'm going to sweep up in that external rotation all the way by my ear, coming up. Keep externally rotating, sweep across my midline, going along my cheek again, and coming back down. Okay, so we're going to do 1 rep on the other side like that in this tall kneeling position. So I'm just going to turn around for you. Left hand is on the rib cage. Right arm is going to externally rotate as much as you can. Move my hair so you guys can see. Okay, and then we're going to go across the midline, sweeping up with that external rotation. Bicep glides across my cheek. I get to the top of my range of motion, and then I internally rotate here at the top. I'm going to sweep the arm back, keep internally rotating, make sure my T-spine is staying squared off to the front. I'm reaching my arm into extension, trying to activate that tricep and make sure that my shoulder is staying away from my chest. And then to reverse it, we're going to externally rotate the shoulder and then slowly bring the arm back up, trying to keep it close to my midline. As I bring the arm all the way back up by my ear, I externally rotate more, and then I go across the midline toward my cheek and sweep the arm all the way down. Okay, so now we're going to do 1 more rep on each arm, but we're going to be on hands and knees, so we're going to be working against gravity in a different way, okay? So what you want to do is place your right hand underneath your shoulder, left hand is going to be our working arm. We're going to brace the abdominal wall, keep everything stable. Just reach this left arm forward first with the thumb up toward the ceiling. Externally rotate as much as you can, and then reach up. Fighting gravity here. We're going to hold for a breath. Internally rotate, and then start to reach that arm up and back, keep internally rotating. Keep the length in your spine, the stability in your trunk. T-spine is not rotating open here, right? We're keeping everything square to the floor. And then we're going to reverse it, externally rotate through that left shoulder again. Sweep the arm forward, bring it by your ear, and lower it down. Let's do 1 more rep. Here we go. Just keeping everything stable. Internally rotate. Keep pushing out of that bottom arm, making sure you're protracting out of that right scap as you're moving this left arm. And then reverse it, rotate. Keep that arm as straight as you can. Bring it all the way back by your ear and lower the hand. Good. And we're just going to turn around for the other side. Same thing on this arm, keeping everything as stable as possible. Okay, so I'm really make sure your bottom arm, you're not sinking into that shoulder. So protract, push out of that left shoulder here. Reach the right arm forward. Abdominal wall is braced. Big breath in and exhale. Lift that arm up as high as you can. And then internally rotate through the shoulder and sweep the arm out to the side. Keep internally rotating, keeping your chest and T-spine square to the floor. Hug the arm in toward your midline and lift with that tricep engagement as high as you can. And then to reverse it, externally rotate. Sweep the arm all the way back by your ear. Keep lifting it up toward the ceiling as you do so. And lower it down. Take a breath. And 1 more rep. Lift up. Internally rotate. Keep spiraling through that internal rotation. Reach the arm all the way back into your end range of your shoulder extension. Lift up as high as you can. Keep pushing out of that bottom arm. And now reverse it, externally rotating through the shoulder. Sweep the arm all the way back forward. Keep lifting it up as you bring it by your ear and lower it down. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna go right into an arm bar next. Now that our shoulders are a little more warmed up, we're gonna do a stability drill, and then we're gonna superset it with some external pail and rails for our scaps and shoulders. So this is gonna be a prone thing, laying on your stomach. That's why this little towel is gonna be handy, okay? But grab a bell that you can easily do your arm bar with, because I'm gonna talk you through some capsule rotations in the arm bar, okay? So it's gonna be a little different. We're gonna add in some more rotations. So you might want a little bit of a lighter weight than you usually would do your arm bar with, okay? All right, so I'm gonna face this way so you guys can see the rotations happening. And we're gonna start in the fetal position. And then you're gonna turn onto your back with the bell in that left hand. Press the bell straight up toward the ceiling. Just gotta move so I don't hit that other kettlebell. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep this arm as straight as I can, knuckles up toward the ceiling. This right arm and leg are straight on the floor. I use my bent legs foot, my left foot, to push down into the ground and turn to my side. And then that bent leg's knee is gonna come in front of my right thigh, and I'm gonna hold here. Now we're gonna just rotate at the shoulder joint, slowly getting as much external rotation as I comfortably can with this weight. And then I'm gonna internally rotate the weight as comfortably as I can. So I'm just trying to slowly move through my end range of my humerus bone, rotating in my shoulder socket in each direction. Just keeping the bell as stable as possible. The rest of the body is just grounding into the floor. And we're trying to get loaded rotation. Our shoulder joint, you might start to really feel a lot of those stabilizer muscles, those tiny muscles, do a little quiver or tremble. That's a good sensation. If you feel any sort of pinching or sharp pain, maybe you got something going on in your neck or your shoulder, I would back off of the rotations and just hold in a stable position that feels safe. Let's pause in our neutral, quote, neutral position. Bring the foot back and turn to your back and then turn to your side. Cool, so we're just gonna drag the bell around and do that again on the other side with those capsule rotations for our shoulder. Again, it doesn't have to be a heavy weight for you to benefit from this. We're not lifting super heavy today. We're just going for our active range of motion and trying to get the added benefit of training our rotation in its fullest range of motion. So that way, you know, when you're doing things like the Turkish get up or like snatches, if your arm happens to rotate a little too much, you know, maybe that might tweak something. But if you train that range of motion, if you train that extreme rotation with load and with tension, then you probably will be prepared for it and mitigate that injury. So that's a big benefit of adding in very intentional mobility work into your kettlebell training, or into any mode of training, really, into being a human and living life and having to adapt to, you know, unstable environments and playing with your kids and things like that. All right, go ahead, bring that foot back. You probably did about 3 or 4 rotations in each direction as I jabbered on there. Okay, and you're gonna grab your small towel and we're gonna do some rotations laying down on our stomach for external rotation of our shoulders, which is super essential for things like our Turkish get-ups or overhead presses, rows, you know, any upper body work that you're doing with your kettlebells. So I like to just use this little towel as a pillow for my forehead, and then you're going to lay down on your stomach with your arms at 90-degree angles and palms are flat on the ground, okay? And so now what we're going to do is start with an isometric, pushing our hands and wrists into the ground as if we're trying to internally rotate through our shoulders. And we're doing both arms at the same time, so you're going to push at the same effort with left hand and wrist into the floor. It's as if you could push the hands through the ground, but you're not actually moving because obviously the floor is blocking you. And your elbows are staying connected, so the harder you push down, try not to let those elbows lift up. They're going to stay connected to the ground. We're going to hold here for another 10 seconds, just with that isometric push at about 50% effort. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the push down and now try to lift both, just isolating that external rotation. Hold for another 10 seconds. Try to keep your wrists nice and long. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Nice. Now we're going to do just one more round at 75% effort here. Here we go. So brace your body. Start to press those hands and wrists into the floor, starting to build up your tension and effort. And you're internally rotating through both shoulders. 10 more seconds. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release that push. And now try to lift hands and wrists up away from the ground and hold. Externally rotating at 75% max effort. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the hands. Nice. Okay, we're going to come up out of that. And now we're going to do some tripod presses, which I love to incorporate into my training often. They're a great functional press, and it really relates to the Turkish get up. So if you like working on your Turkish get up, you'll probably enjoy working on this press variation. So what we're going to do is clean the bell up into our rack position, into this half kneeling position. And then the bottom hand is going to come down in between my front foot and knee. So as I press up, this hand is going to reach to the floor. I'm going to rotate my chest open, and I'm aligning this kettlebell straight above my left shoulder. And then I'm going to come right back up and bring the kettlebell to the rack position. Okay, and then we're going to repeat. Note that I'm hinging my hips back as I'm pressing the kettlebell up. Okay, so as I rotate, my hips are going back to create space for my T-spine to rotate and the bell to press up, and then coming up into hip extension to bring the bell back into the rack position. Okay, all right, so we're just going to do, let's just do 6 reps, light amount of reps, because I want you to focus on the rotation happening in the T-spine, in the shoulder, focus on your alignment, and just moving with your breath. We don't have to go heavy today. This is a mobility focused workout, so we're not going for like our PRs or anything. Okay, so clean the bell up. Take a nice big breath in and rotate. Exhale, press the bell. Rotate back and bring it to your back. Okay, 5 more on this side. Inhale. Make sure you're hinging the hips back as you press the bell up. Big breath in. And just like in the arm bar, we have that T-spine rotating open with the bell above the shoulder. So it's very similar to that arm bar position. 2 more. Big breath in. Last rep. Bring the bell down. Awesome. We're just going to switch sides. Okay, same thing on this side. My right foot is up, so my right arm is arm. Left hand is going to come to the floor, and maybe just practice a rep without the kettlebell. So you have that placement with your hand in between. The reason why we call it a tripod press is because we're making a tripod, right? 1 foot, 1 knee, and 1 hand to make a triangle, hence a tripod press. Okay, here we go. Get the kettlebell, clean it up. Take a nice big breath in and rotate as you press. Align the bell, come back up, vertical position, and then back to the rack. Inhale. rotate, press. 3 more. Awesome. Last rep, big breath in. Hinge. Come back, bring the bell down. Cool. So we've got that tripod press, and then we're going to superset it with some shoulder flexion hovers. So this is where the yoga block or a small kettlebell might come in handy, and you're going to place the yoga block out in front of one arm. So my working arm is going to start right on the inside of my yoga block. Just going to move, make sure Instagram people can see me. Okay. All right, so my hand is coming right to the inside of the block to start, and I want my arm in my overhead pressing position, right? So don't have it too far out to the side. Have it start right in line with your shoulder joint. This hand is just going to be underneath my forehead. I'm going to take a nice big breath in, brace my body, exhale, lift up, hover over the yoga block, control it down to the side, thumb is still up toward the ceiling, and then reverse it. Big breath in, exhale, lift up and over, back to center. And I'm controlling that range of motion until the very moment when I touch the ground. I don't want to lift up and then crash land, okay? And if this feels, too easy, find an object that's higher so you can get a challenging range of motion that you can barely lift up over, okay? So I'm going to be working with my yoga block like this. And let's just do 3 reps together on this side, and then we'll switch, okay? And 1 rep is going over and back to where you started. So technically we have 6 lifts in this little round or set of these hovers. Okay, here we go. Take a nice big breath in. And exhale, lift up. Hover over your object, control the arm down. And reverse it, exhale, lift. Back to center. 2 more like that. Exhale. Get as much height as you can. And exhale, lift back over. Awesome. 1 more full rep like that. Big breath in. Exhale, lift. And back over. Exhale. Rest it down. Awesome. And then we're just going to switch sides. I'll turn around so you guys can see my working arm. Okay. And same thing on this side. You might have a big difference between your right and left arm. If you need to adjust the position of your object so it's shorter or taller, but try to get your arms to be as symmetrical as possible. We want, every human has their little asymmetries and stuff, but for overhead pressing, especially if you're a kettlebell athlete, you're going to want to be able to press overhead with your full range of motion without compensations on both sides, right? So make sure that you work up that range. Here we go. Big breath in. Exhale, lift the right arm. Lift over that blocker object. Control it down. Big inhale. Exhale. And lower. Got 2 more reps like that. Big breath in. Exhale. Control down. Exhale back over. Rest it down. 1 more time over the block. And back to center. 1 more round of that little superset. So starting off with the tripod press, feel free to go up and wait or, do more reps if you want. I'm going to stick with my 12 kilogram and do 6 reps again. Okay, guys, here we go. This is the last round of this superset. Let's focus on our breath, focus on getting that full range of motion, keeping the integrity of the movement as best you can. Here we go. Clean the bell up. Take a nice big breath in and rotate. If you want, you can also go into an elbow position. This is a little more advanced, but you're going to bring the elbow down to the floor instead of the hand, just deepening that hinge, getting more T-spine rotation, and it's a nice little challenge for your mobility. 2 more reps. Or just stick with your hand on the floor. Bring it down. Awesome. And we're going to switch sides. Same thing on the right side, 6 reps, or feel free to do 7 or 8, whatever you got in you. Here we go. Clean the bell up. And pressing overhead. You can come to your hand, or if you like that extra challenge, like I did on the other side, pressing and getting down to that elbow. Find that stability. Find that big open chest. Aligning the bell over your shoulder. 1 more. Nice. Okay. Now we're going to go into those shoulder hovers again with the yoga block or any object that you'd like. But this time we're going to do it from a child's pose position, which child's pose sounds easy, right? But this is going to make it more challenging because we're basically bringing our position of our body into, like, your hips are higher than your shoulders in child's pose, right? Because we have our heels underneath our butt and our head is going to be a little lower than our pelvis. So it's going to be more challenging to lift your arm up over the object. So for instance, I had the yoga block on the tallest height for the prone position, but I'm going to put it on the medium height for this child's pose position. Okay, so feel free to adjust your height as needed. We're going to try to maintain as much of a braced abdominal wall in this child's pose position as we lift up over the yoga block, or naturally relaxes in the child's pose position. It's nice and open here. So just try to find a sense of lift in the pelvic floor, in your abdominal wall as you exhale and engage your diaphragm fully. And that should help get the lift to your left wrist. Fill up your body and reverse it. Exhale. Making sure that your T-spine isn't rotating. 1 more, up and over. Back to center. Exhale, lift. Rest the arm down. Cool. Same thing on the other side. I'm just going to turn so you guys can see my working arm. Get my hair out of the way. Okay. So my right arm is working. My left hand is underneath my head, under my forehead. I'm going to take a nice big breath in. Exhale, lift. Coming over the yoga block. Big inhale. Exhale. Back to center. Got 2 more in this direction. And really controlling that full range of motion. Try not to cheat it. My right side is a little weaker than my left, so I find myself sometimes having to slow down a little more on my right side to really honestly get that full engagement. And rest. Cool. Okay. So we're just going to get a quick sip of water. I'm just going to check to see if there's any questions or anything that I could help with. And then we're going to go through some windmills next, because windmills are a great combo of strength and mobility, and just learning how to access that full shoulder range of motion in the overhead position, but then also in that more lateral bent press or, tripod press position that we just had. So it's always a fun little combo. Okay, I'm going to use, I think, my 10 kilogram for this, just because I'm going to be talking, going a little slow, but feel free to go as heavy as you want and as heavy as you feel comfortable with. Again, this isn't a, PR performance workout. This is a mobility workout. We're focusing on our range of motion, our technique, and making sure that things are engaging fully and taking the time to really breathe in the positions, because you need that time under tension and that full range of motion in order to make adaptations, right? And that's what proper mobility training really does for you. Okay, so first thing I just want to make sure everybody knows with the windmill, you're going to get the kettlebell up overhead first. Then we're going to turn the toes to the diagonal, okay? So we're just turning those toes to about a 45-degree diagonal, the opposite side of the arm that's overhead. And then you're going to take this arm and trace down the inside leg, hinging at your hips. And at the same time, my T-spine is rotating, my shoulder is externally rotating, making sure that we're not internally rotating through the shoulder and causing our shoulder joint to compress, right? We want to keep that sense of external rotation by basically trying to rotate back toward my cheek and my face. And as I hinge, I'm looking up at the kettlebell, making sure it's staying stacked over my shoulder. And then we're just going to come back up. And as I stand, my chest and T-spine is going to move to that diagonal that matches my toes, rather than turning to here, okay, turning where I started. I'm going to come back there once I'm done with all my reps, turn my toes and bring the bell down. But in between each rep, after I come out of my hinge, I'm going to square off to where my toes are facing. Okay, that's my squared off position with my pelvis, rib cage, toes, my gaze all facing in that diagonal. Okay, and then we're going to do 5 reps and then we'll switch sides. Okay, here we go. So you're going to clean your kettlebell up, take a nice big breath in, clean the bell up, and then you're going to press it up overhead, just getting that alignment. Knuckles are reaching up toward the ceiling. Once you have the bell overhead, turn your toes to about a 45-degree angle. And now you're going to start to hinge and reach this hand down the inside of your thigh. So I'm going to try to glide the hand down as my guide, so I don't have to look. I'm looking at my knuckles. My wrist is staying nice and straight. I get to that nice deep hinge position. I'm going to exhale as I come up and I rotate everything to that 45-degree angle, okay? And here we go, 4 more reps. Rotating, gliding that hand down, finding that big stretch in my back leg and glute and hamstring, driving that bell straight back up and rotating to that 45-degree angle. 3 more reps. Just take your time with it. Find your fullest range of motion. Stabilize at the top position. Inhale. Big hinge. Exhale. Push up. Stabilize. 1 more. Driving that hip out away from my head. My butt is reaching in the opposite direction of my cranium. Coming up. And now I turn my toes back to the front, bring the bell down, and bring it to the floor. We're going to start 5 reps on the other side in a second. Hopefully that's all making sense, guys. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or need any clarifications on things. Okay, here we go. You're going to clean the bell up. Take a nice big breath in. And now press the bell. Rotate your toes to that opposite 45-degree angle. And here we go. Knuckles are up toward the ceiling. This hand is going to trace down the inside of this left leg. I'm looking up at the bell, taking my time to stabilize. And exhale, driving that bell straight up. I get into that 45-degree angle position. And then I repeat, rotating, keeping my chest as open as I can. That external rotation of my shoulder. Stabilize here. 3 more reps. Just take your time with it. Like I said, you can go nice and slow. This isn't a movement that's about fast, speed and power. This is a movement that benefits greatly from time under tension, finding that big stretch, that integrity through each position and the alignment. Come all the way back up. That was the last rep. Square your toes back to the front. Bring the bell down and rest. Nice. Okay. And then so we're going to do one more movement with this, and that is going to be a swimmer hover. Okay. So this is combining both arms together, and it's basically like it's a 2-arm shoulder card. So it's very similar to the movement we did earlier on in class where we're going through our shoulder card, our full range of motion of our arm. We're going to do it in the prone position, laying down on our stomachs, and both arms are going to be moving together. So it's pretty challenging. Make sure you have enough space around you so your arms have full range of motion. You're not going to hit anything, okay? And you might want that little towel underneath your forehead to make sure that we're keeping our neck nice and aligned, okay? You're going to start laying on your stomach, toes are pointed straight back. One hand is going to be on top of the other, stacked on your head, okay? So just come down with your forehead on the towel. Place one hand on the other. Don't interlace your fingers. And now you're going to brace your body, posterior pelvic tilt. Try to breathe into the sides of your rib cage. And now lift your elbows up as high as you can. And you're going to hover and lift your hands up off your head. Now lengthen out from the elbows into a high V position. And from here, you're going to start to internally rotate through both shoulders, slowly sweeping your arms back in space. Keep lifting them up from the floor and get to a low V position with both arms in that internal rotation and extension. Now from here, bend your elbows and you're going to hover them up your back. One hand stacks on top of the other and reverse it. Extend from the elbows. Try to drive your shoulders up away from the floor. Externally rotate shoulders. Keep externally rotating as you bring them through a big T position and then reach them forward back into that big V, a high V. Lift up, bend the elbows, hover one hand above the other above your head, hold, and rest down. Good. We're going to do one more rep exactly like that. See if you can add even more tension in your body, get even more range of motion. Here we go. Stack the hands, one on top of the other. Take a big breath in. Brace. Exhale, lift the elbows. Draw your shoulder blades together. Lift the hands up as high as you can. And then start to extend your elbows long. Get to that high V position. Try to lift the back of the wrists as high as you can. Then internally rotate through both shoulders. Sweep the arms back. Keep lifting up. Try to get as much shoulder extension as you can in this low V position. Breathe. Bend the elbows. Hover one hand above the other behind your back. Keep trying to lift above your back. And now reverse it. Extend the elbows long. Try to keep the front of your shoulders from dipping down toward the floor. Externally rotate through both shoulders. Sweep the arms back forward. Keep lifting up. Keep externally rotating. Get to that high V position. Bend the elbows. Hover over your head. Hold. And rest. Woo! I don't know about you, but my shoulders are burning. This is a boulder shoulder workout. But it's all, mobility, stability, focus things. So it's a nice slow burn. It builds up throughout the class. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to do one more set of the windmills just to go through that full range of motion again with our shoulder joint loaded. Feel free to go up and wait if you'd like. Let's do it. Okay, just move your towel off to the side. Grab your bell. You know what? I'm going to go up and wait too. Here we go. 12 kilo. 5 reps of your windmill, making sure that you're getting that full stacked position, right? All the stuff that we've been working on today in class is to get this full vertical stacked position without compensations in the body, right? Without any weird things going on. So if you feel like you're still not achieving that, maybe go lighter, because if you can't lock out your elbow overhead, right? And your arm's like slightly in front of you, or your elbow is slightly bent, or your wrist is doing funky things. You know, all of that is going to stress certain joints and tendons and things. And over time, it's not going to feel good. You might really seriously injure yourself. So work on your mobility in an active way. Find that alignment for yourself so you can confidently load it when you're doing your Turkish get-ups and snatches and presses and things like that, especially if you're into kettlebell competitions or doing multiple, you know, minutes, EMOMs and things like that of snatches. You know, you want to make sure that you're not wearing and tearing on your joints over and over again. You want to have the integrity of the position, knowing that, yes, I have that full range of motion. I can load it safely, right? So that's what this work is all about. Okay, here we go. I'm starting with my left arm. We're going to go into the windmills again. Take a nice big breath in and clean the bell up. Press overhead. Turn your toes to that 45-degree diagonal and take your time. Remember, we're finding our fullest range of motion in our hip hinge. So rotate the T-spine, keep that shoulder externally rotated, keep the knuckles driving up toward the ceiling. And exhale as you stand. Stabilize with your rib cage bracing in. You can reach the opposite arm forward to help encourage that rib cage placement. Here we go. 4 more. Big breath in. Loading down into the glute and hammy of that back leg especially. 3 more. Just feeling that nice deep range of motion. Drive down through both feet to come up. Stabilize. Last rep. Big hinge. Big stretch. Exhale, push through the floor. Get to that diagonal. And then rotate the toes, square off to the front. Bring the bell down. All the way to the floor. Just take a few moments to rest, shake it out. We'll do 5 reps on the other side. Ready? Here we go. Big breath in. Clean the bell up. Press. And now turn those toes to the diagonal. Here we go. Look up at the bell as you hinge. Getting that nice big stretch. Exhale, drive through the floor with both feet. Rotate to that diagonal, stabilize, and repeat. Three more. Just take your time with it. Keeping the integrity of your wrist, that energy out through your fingertips, that nice deep hinge. Square off back to the front, bring the bell down, and lower the bell. Nice. Awesome job, guys. Cool. So that's going to be it for today. Let me know if you have any questions before we go real quick. I hope you enjoyed the combo of the mobility and the kettlebell skills. It's basically what I specialize in with my clients, with my programming. If you have any interest in working with me, I work with people all over the world one-on-one, and I have kettlebell programs, kettlebell courses, and really fun stuff. Oh, and I also teach a weekly Saturday virtual mobility class. It's all mobility, FRC stuff. It's every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. And you can join me from anywhere in the world. It's all FRC-based stuff. It will benefit your body greatly. And the link to sign up for that class is in my bio on Hallie, your kettlebell coach, my Instagram account. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. Thanks so much. I'll be back next month doing another mobility and kettlebell focused class. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for having me, Kettlebell Kings. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it, everyone. Awesome. Someone asked, does this work for shoulder and neck pain? Yes, indeed, it does. Just saying, if you have a lot of shoulder pain or neck pain, could really stem from lack of shoulder mobility, lack of separation between scaps and T-spine, like I talked about in the beginning of class, because things might just be like really compressed. And so also, in modern day, we're all in this like kyphosis position, right, on our laptops and computers. And so engaging our posterior chain and using the back of our shoulders, our upper back muscles, our lower traps, our, everything on the back of your body basically to load and engage that and get more extension in your T-spine, more extension in your shoulders will help. Yeah, and if you have any other questions, you can message me on Instagram. I have mobility programs as well. I've helped lots of people get out of pain and maintain good range of motion. So definitely hit me up for that. My page is Hallie, your kettlebell coach. I'll type it in here at Hallie tutorials as well. So if you guys need any free content on YouTube, feel free to head over there. And yeah, feel free to message me on Instagram if you guys have any other questions. I'll be back next month with another Kettlebell Kings workout. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it. Bye, guys. Have a good day. All right, YouTube, thanks so much for having me. Hope you guys enjoyed the workout, and I'll see you next month. Bye.